Where are you again?
Constantia in Cape Town. Rabbi Common Green.
Common Green, yeah.
Yeah, so our daily shul our daily shul room that we have our services in is not big enough to properly space. So we're having services outside, and yeah, we're getting there.
We don't have enough outside space, so we're inside with the windows and the doors open.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so our daily shul our daily shul room that we have our services in is not big enough to properly space.
Our small shul where we have
enough outside space. So we're inside with the windows and the doors open.
Okay. Right. Let's try and get the screen sharing going. Resume share. No, not this. Not this. Sorry, give me a minute, guys. No. Oh, okay. Can you now see the text?
Yes.
Yes, Rabbi.
Okay. Hello, Jeff.
Hi, Rabbi.
Why don't I see everybody else yet? What's going on here? Oh.
Hello.
Okay, now I see some people. Hello, Dennis. Hello, John. Hello, Stephen. How's everybody?
Hello, Rabbi. Hi. I could only connect through JTI.
Did everybody connect on the normal Zoom?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Hello,
All good,
Martin.
Rabbi.
Hello, Leanne.
Hi, Rabbi. It's fine now on the Zoom channel. It's fine with mine. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's get started because we're in a bit of a difficult patch here with the laws of Eruvs. And as you have learned by now, there are different kinds of Eruvs, right? We're in chapter 6. So by now you're already familiar that there's different kinds of Eruvs. There's an Eruv Tafshilin that we do to prepare to allow ourselves to cook on the first day Yontif when it falls on Friday to prepare for Shabbos. There's the Eruv that we have in Johannesburg, and in Sea Point they have an Eruv with poles and wires to permit people to carry on Shabbos outside. Then there's Eruv Chatzeros, which I think you've learned about in this past week. People who are in a complex with different properties to carry in between them. Today we're going to learn about Eruv Techumin. Eruv Techumin, plural of Techum. I presume you've learned about the Tchum Shabbos before today. Are you all familiar, or should I review that for you?
Can you just do just a
So,
brief,
very briefly.
No,
brief review
sure.
just to remind me,
Okay.
please, Reba?
Okay. Brief review. Eruv techumen. Techum is the Hebrew word for the distance one is allowed to walk outside the city limits on Shabbos. Now it goes back to the Torah, to the Bible story of the Jewish people in the wilderness, where you had a few million people congregated in one area, the Jewish camp, and the manna fell outside the camp, and they would go collect the manna. So we're told that on Shabbos they mustn't go out to collect it. So they worked out what the distance is that you're allowed to go on Shabbos, and from this it derives today. People don't know this. It doesn't apply because in town, Johannesburg and Cape Town, I think all the people here and this year are either from Johannesburg or Cape Town. In the city, in an urban built-up area, you can walk as much as you like. You can
Sorry, Reba, the sound
walk from
is off.
Breaking up, Rabbi.
And you have enough hours in the day.
We can't hear you, Rabbi.
I don't think he's talking.
I
I
think
think he's lost the connection.
signal, yeah.
I think he dropped.
Yeah, he's left us. Hmm. He sometimes struggles with the technology.
Yeah, this happens just about every Monday.
But I
think
think
he
he's also got
sometimes-
an internet problem.
Yeah, he seems to have internet problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better for him just to talk and us to pull up the text separately.
I have the text up
He
in fact.
should actually turn his text off, and then we'll hear him.
Yeah. I always use the text. It's easier to follow.
Good.
You can
I
read the
agree.
notes. You can read the notes if you want to.
He's trying to reconnect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a big advantage. You can read the notes.
Yeah.
But Stephen, I agree with you. This is a hell of a technical session.
Good grief.
It's difficult being a Jew.
If I'd known it would be like this, I would have had different parents.
So you've got sun in Cape Town, Kent.
Yes, we have. It's not quite summer yet. It's not hot yet, but it's
Okay.
Getting there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
can, Robbie.
Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Ryan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can
Rabbi.
hear you.
Yes, Rabbi.
Can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Rabbi.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear
Yeah.
us?
Can't hear us.
Can't hear us.
Okay,
I don't think
I'm
you can hear us.
sorry. Did we all get disconnected or was it just me?
It's
It's
Just-
just you.
and the sound is echoey from
I
your
hear
side,
you
Rabbi.
now. Don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on, to tell you the honest truth, so we're just gonna carry on, but I got disconnected and had to reconnect, so
Carry on. Carry on.
I've lost the screen share. Let me try and get the screen share back.
I think, Rabbi, we'll follow the text on our machines. You just do the talking.
Can you?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you just talk, Rabbi, and we'll follow our own text.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying what Tchum Shabbos means. The Tchum is the limit that one is allowed to walk outside the city limits. So I was once on holiday in Mpumalanga, and usually I don't go on holiday over a Shabbos where there's no shul, but on this one occasion we were with the family in Mpumalanga, and there's no shul there. So we were in a resort, and there's a long Shabbos afternoon. So we just, and there's a few trails, very nice scenic trails there by Blythe River Canyon. So we thought, we have a long Shabbos afternoon, we'll go for a walk, we'll do a trail. As we're about to start, suddenly I remembered that I'm outside the city limits, and there is a limit to how far you're allowed to walk on Shabbos if you're outside the city. So in Joburg and Cape Town, you can walk as much as you like, but once you leave the city limits, the maximum you can walk is 2,000 cubits, amos. How much is an amma? Between 1.5 and 2 feet. So let's say 2,000 cubits is 3,000 feet. Call it a kilometer. Roughly 1 kilometer is the limit that you can walk outside the city limits on Shabbos. So we had to take the 1 kilometer trail. We couldn't do the more interesting 5 kilometer trail, which we had time for. So that's something to be aware of when you're on holiday or you're out of the city. Are you there? Are you hearing me? I'm not seeing any responses here.
We can hear you,
Yes.
Rabbi.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thanks, Rabbi.
Okay, just checking because it looked a bit dead there. Okay, so with that introduction, so now the next thing to know is that you can make an eruv. It's called eruv techumen. So if you know, let's say you're on holiday in the bush in a camp, and your friends are down the road in another bush camp, which is say 3 kilometers away. So you're not allowed to walk there on Shabbos, and you have a long Shabbos afternoon, and you want to keep each other company. So there's a solution. You would go, say, in between the area, say go equidistant, and you would put down a parcel of food under a tree or someplace, in a box or whatever. If there's a safe place, even better. And you say, this is my home, so to speak. I'm setting up home. I'm setting up shop here, outside of where I'm actually sleeping. And then you get an extension. By doing that, you get an extension. You can now go 2,000 cubits from that spot where you put the food down. So that way you could then reach your friend on Shabbos. So you get an extension on the kilometer that you can walk. You can go another kilometer from there. Okay, you got that? That's the basic foundation for today's share. Are you all with me? Any questions before we go into the nitty-gritty details of this?
All good, Rabbi.
Thank you.
That makes sense.
Okay,
As
so
long as if you're in the bush, you don't get eaten by a lion.
Well, I wasn't talking about that kind of bush, you know.
I'm kidding. I'm
There's
kidding.
bushes that are safe.
Rabbi, theoretically,
I once got lost.
No.
I once got lost with a bunch of little kids of mine in Chraskop in Pumalanga, which is not too far from the game reserve, and they had to have a search party to find us at night with torches. It was terrible. But I was petrified that there's wild animals there. But then the ranger told me, no, don't worry, there's only snakes. So, okay. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get through everything because there's quite a long chapter, 24 different laws. But let's see, try and get done as much as we can. So, number one, when a person leaves the city on Friday afternoon and deposits food for 2 meals at a distance from the city, but within its Sabbath limits, by doing so, he establishes this as his place for Shabbos. That's what I've just told you. It's considered as if his base for the Shabbos is the place where he deposited the food for 2 meals. Even if he returns to the city before Shabbos begins and spends the night at home, this is called Eruv Techumim. The Eruv of Techumim, of joining. Eruv means mixing and joining, and Techumim is the plural of different maximum limits. So you join 2 by putting the food in between, so now you've doubled the distance that you can traverse on a Shabbos. So number 2, therefore on Shabbos, you can walk 2,000 cubits from the place where you put the food, where the Eruv is. That food is called the Eruv, in all directions. Let's move on. Let's move to number 5. The person deposits his Eruv within the city in which he's spending Shabbos. His actions are of no consequence. It's a waste of time to do it in the city. In the city, you don't need an Eruv. You can walk as much as you like. You can still only go 2,000 cubits or a kilometer, 1,000 meters approximately outside of the city limits. Number 6, an Eruv Techumim should be established only for a purpose associated with the mitzvah. You need a good reason to make this Eruv. Either you want to go to the house of a mourner, or to a wedding feast, or to greet your teacher, or to greet a colleague returning from a journey, or the like. But maybe just to go for a little walk, maybe that's really not justification. Likewise, if for a negative reason, if you're escaping Gentile marauders or something, or ganovim, hijackers, muggers. When we got found by the search party, when we got lost in Chraskop, then all those years ago, I had a niece with me from New York. So the search party found us with torches, and so my niece says, "What if they're muggers?" So they were our saviors. They were not muggers anyway. But that's, that was the mindset in New York in those days. Today, unfortunately, it's become the mindset in South Africa too. Okay, but if you did it, even for your own purposes, it is still valid. Number 7. Sorry, not number 7. The second paragraph of number 7, the minimum measure of food acceptable. You need food sufficient for 2 meals for every individual. So it depends how many people. If you're a whole group, you need 2 meals worth of food for every person. Number 8, you and the Eruv food have to be in the same domain. Now, you've already learned the laws of Shabbos previously, so you know there's 4 domains on Shabbos, right? Public domain, private domain, Carmelis, and exempt area. But you may not, I'm going to summarize the next few halachas now. In my own words, excuse me. I'm going to tell you what it says in the next few paragraphs. Basically, if you put your food on a tree branch, which is more than 10 handbreadths off the ground, that is a different reshus. But that's actually not bad because that's an exempt area. But let's say, let's say you may not transfer anything from a public domain to a private domain or vice versa on Shabbos. So if you're in a public domain and your food Eruv is in a private domain or vice versa, it's a problem. It does not work because you cannot transfer it. So what if there's no use for it, if you can't use it, then there's no point. You have to be able to eat it. But if you can't get to it because it's in a different domain, then it's not valid. Let's look at number 10. If he put it in a closet and he locks it and then he lost the key. If he can get it open without breaking the laws of Shabbos, then it's still valid. If he placed the Eruv, the food, on top of a reed or a shaft that grows from the earth, it's not valid because we're worried he may break off the reed in taking the Eruv down. 11, when a person deposits an Eruv, he's granted 4 cubits in which to carry at the place of the Eruv. So you can carry around 4 cubits, means say 8 feet, 3 meters or something. You have a little circle which you can carry around. You can still walk the kilometer, but you can carry around in that immediate area, which is basically a little circle around you of say 3 meters around you. Therefore, second paragraph in number 11, the person places his Eruv Tchumen food at the end of the Sabbath limits, and then the Eruv rolled down the road. He foolishly put it on a hill, and it rolled downwards. 2 cubits beyond the Sabbath limits, the Eruv is valid. But if it goes more than 2 cubits beyond, it's not valid. Okay. Number 12, if it rolled more than 2 cubits beyond, or became lost or burned, or was truma, sacred foods which became impure and you cannot eat it, if it happened before Shabbos started, it's invalid. If it happened after nightfall, it's valid. Because the Eruv is established at Bein Hashmashot. Do you know what Bein Hashmashot is? Who knows what Bein Hashmashot is and wants to tell us? Don't all shout at once. Bein Hashmashot literally means between the suns. Shemesh is the sun. It means the twilight zone, between the sun going down and the moon going up, or between sunset and nightfall. Okay? So like we bring Shabbos in before sunset, we only let Shabbos out on Saturday night after clearly nightfall has come. In Johannesburg, there's about 33 minutes between sunset and nightfall. Halachically, it's in doubt. That twilight zone, dusk, is considered halachically questionable. Is it today or tomorrow? Does the day begin at sunset? Because in Judaism, we begin the day the night before. Does the halachic day begin at sunset or at nightfall? So there's different opinions in the Talmud, and there's no clarity. Therefore, it's doubtful. For example, if you have a baby boy born to nice Jewish parents on Friday in that twilight zone after sunset but before nightfall, when will we have his bris? I think we discussed this.
The day before.
No?
Yes, we discussed.
Oh no, it's the following day, yes.
Which following day?
If if he was born, say Friday
He was
evening,
born Friday evening after sunset, but before nightfall. When will he have his bris?
on Saturday.
Wrong. Wrong.
On the following Sunday.
Sunday is correct. He can't have it on Friday because it's a doubtful time. It might already be Shabbos, which means next Friday is only day number 7, and you have to have the bris on day number 8. He cannot have it on Shabbos because you can only have a bris on Shabbos if you know for a fact that that is the 8th day, and this might be the 9th day if it was still Friday.
Okay.
So you can't have it Friday, you can't have it Shabbos. The first opportunity to have this boy's bris will actually be Sunday. So now let's get back to the laws of Eruv. So the Eruv is established Bein Hashmoshet, in that twilight zone where the food is, and if the food is kosher, and the food is edible, and the food is in the right place during the twilight zone, then it is a valid Eruv. If there's something wrong during the twilight zone, then it's invalid. If it's in doubt, we're not sure, then we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, and the Eruv will be valid. Let's look at 13. 2 individuals told the person, go and make an Eruv on our behalf. So he did. So he did it for one before Shabbos. He did it for the other Ben Hashmoshet after sunset, which he should not have done. He should have done it before sunset. So the Eruv that was established before Shabbos was eaten during the twilight zone. The Eruv that was established during the twilight zone was eaten after nightfall. So both of these Eruvin are valid because the halachic status of Ben Hashmoshes, the twilight zone, is a matter of doubt, as I told you. And when there is a doubt regarding the validity of an Eruv, it is considered acceptable. We take the lenient, we give it a leniency when in doubt. Number 14, an avalanche. There was an earth, what do they call it? A rock fall or something, you know? What happens on Chapman's Peak? What do they call it? A rock fall?
Yeah, I think so. Rockfall.
Rockfall, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a rock fall onto where you'll put your food of your Eruv. Number 14. If it happened before Shabbos, it's still acceptable, provided you can remove it without performing any forbidden labors. If you don't need a shovel and a pick and a whole caterpillar to reveal the food. Let's move to number 17. You know, there are certain laws about a cemetery, a Jewish cemetery. You're not allowed to perform a mitzvah in the presence of a grave, of a Jewish grave. Like you should not be putting on tefillin within 4 cubits of a grave. Say within 8 feet of a grave. Why? You know that, I wear my tzitzis outside my trousers. Many people do. Yeah, you see that? Tzitzis hanging out over the trousers. When I go to a funeral, I have to tuck them in. I'm not allowed to show my tzitzis in the presence of a dead person or a grave. Why? The principle is you are mocking the dead, because the dead cannot perform a mitzvah. To perform a mitzvah, you need a physical body. You need to be alive in a physical body. The time for mitzvahs is this world. The time for the reward of the mitzvahs is in the next world. So to show a mitzvah to a dead body or a grave is flaunting your ability to do a mitzvah. You're mocking the dead. So it's considered insensitive and it's against the halakha. I remember years ago, there was a grave digger strike in New York. In New York, they have unions like here. Now we have unions for everything, right? SABC is going on strike, the union, yeah. In New York, they had the grave diggers union. I don't think there's a grave diggers union yet in Joburg, but maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so they went on strike. There's no Jews who are grave diggers, I could tell you that. When did they go on strike? In the middle of summer, the hottest days. How long can a dead body stay out without deteriorating badly? In the summer, less time than the winter. So they picked the worst time. Now in Jewish law, we can't wait for the strike to be settled next week. We have to bury people immediately, same day if possible. So a bunch of yeshiva bochrim volunteered to dig the graves for the Jewish dead, which the grave diggers union refused to dig. And the Jewish newspaper in New York had a big front page picture of how in the heat of the summer day, these yeshiva bochrim are digging graves. But it was so hot that they took their shirts off. And the problem was they didn't know this halacha. Those young yeshiva bochers did not know the halacha that you're not supposed to reveal your tzitzis in the presence of a grave. So there they were digging graves next to other established graves with their shirts off, and their talis cotton, their small talis under their shirt was revealed. The tzitzis was revealed. So it was an embarrassment that all over the front page of the newspaper was a big picture that these yeshiva bochers didn't know this halacha. It was quite embarrassing. So how is this relevant? So likewise, we shouldn't really eat in a cemetery. Even though it's not a mitzvah, but it's considered disrespectful. What, in front of a grave, you're going to go take out your bologna sandwich. It's insensitive. So number 17, if you place an eruv in a cemetery, it is invalid. The rationale being that it is forbidden to derive benefit from a cemetery, since the person desires that the eruv be preserved thereafter was established, he is deriving benefit from the cemetery, and therefore it's invalid. So you can't use a cemetery for your own personal use, and therefore it won't work. If it was placed in a Beit HaPras is like an open field where they suspect that there were some dead bodies. It's not an official cemetery, but maybe it was a battlefield of a war once upon a time, and they suspect that there may be dead bodies under this ground. So there he says it's valid, because we're not 100% sure, and if necessary, you can avoid it. We're running out of time. Let's move on. Let's look at number 20. A person may give a ma'a. A ma'a is a coin, like 5 rand or something. He may give money to a homeowner with the intent that he should buy him a loaf of bread and establish an eruv techumen on his behalf. And we'll assume that he did it. That's the principle. There's details, which I'm not going to go into. 21. You can establish an eruv techumen on behalf of your sons and daughters who are below bar or bat mitzvah age. They will go along with you. You can do it for them. But if they're over bar or bat mitzvah, you may not. They have to do their own. They have to bring their own food, or you have to provide food for them in addition to your own. Let's look at 22. Here's an interesting one, special for Africa. You'll soon see what I'm talking about. Person has the option of sending his eruv with an agent, a shaliach, whom he has instructed to deposit in the location that he desires. He should not, however, use an agent who is either, it's called cheresh shoite b'koton, a deaf mute, a mentally incompetent individual, or a child under bar or bat mitzvah age. nor with a person who does not accept the mitzvah of Eruv philosophically. He's a bit of a rebel. So throughout the Talmud, we find these three guys are partners: Cheresh, a deaf mute; Shoite, a mentally incompetent person; and a Kotan, a minor, because they don't have the halachic capacity to perform any transactions or any deeds, because we cannot assume that they know what they're doing. The deaf mute, he doesn't understand, so he could get it wrong. The mentally incompetent person, obviously, and a child, we don't know how mature he is. I remember hearing once at a bar mitzvah speech, the rabbi gave a big mazel tov to the bar mitzvah boy. He said, "Congratulations on leaving the company of those other two guys in the Talmud, the deaf mute and the mentally incompetent. You finally left their company, and you became an adult." Look at the second paragraph in number 22. If, however, he sent the heir of one of these three individuals who are incompetent, he sent it to them to give it to another agent who is competent. Provided he watches and sees them doing that, it's kosher. Indeed, the last sentence in the second paragraph of number 22, you'll enjoy this one. Indeed, the heir would be acceptable even if he sent it via a monkey or an elephant. I told you this was for Africa. Anybody have a pet bobian? I don't think you have any pet elephants, but you might have a pet monkey. I know people who have pet monkeys. So you could train a monkey to do lots of things. You know, you could say, here, monkey, give this Eruv to Yankel over there. And if he does it, it's kosher. Okay. 23. If he tells someone else to make an Eruv on his behalf, and that person can choose wherever he wants to do it, and that's where it will be established. Second paragraph in 23, if he says, make an Eruv for me with dates, and he goes and uses figs, it's a problem, or vice versa. If he says, put my Eruv in a cupboard, and he puts it in a dovecote, or vice versa, it's a problem. However, he says, make me an Eruv, and he doesn't specify where, then he can put it wherever he likes. Finally, number 24, to conclude, just as a blessing is recited before establishing an Eruv in a courtyard or a shituf in a lane, so too a blessing is recited before establishing an Eruv Techumin. We say the bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem, al mitzvat Eruv, and then we add, with this Eruv, it will be permissible for me to proceed 2,000 cubits in every direction from this location. If he's establishing an Eruv on behalf of a group, he should say, with this Eruv, it's possible for so-and-so and so-and-so, or the people of this community, or the inhabitants of the city, to walk 2,000 cubits in every direction from this location. That concludes chapter 6. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning. I hope you have a wonderful day. And
Thanks, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thanks,
any
Rabbi.
questions?
Thank you.
Any questions
Thanks, Rabbi.
before I disappear?
Thanks, Rabbi.
Zaygus